the big question that I've been getting a lot running the show, and that a lot of my friends have been getting on their shows, is as adults, how do you make friends?
I think you have to call it out that like not having friends is worse than having a drug problem. And so I've got to treat it with that level of seriousness. And I don't know another way. I haven't figured it out. I don't know another way than to go first and be super awkward. Just go be weird.
Yeah.
And going back to the original question, being alone in a crowded room. Man, I was just telling this to a group the other day, at an event. I have two moments politically that stick in my soul. One when I was younger and one recent. One when I was younger, I remember it was some town hall, something or other, but John McCain was running for president against Barack Obama. And somebody in some way stood up and was like talking about Obama's trying to do this and he's trying to do this and trying to do this. And I remember being a young guy and McCain stopped it. He said, hold on. Him and I disagree vehemently on how to solve these problems, but he's a good husband and he's a good dad. He's a good man. We just disagree on this stuff. We're going to stop this nonsense right now. I remember stopping in my tracks thinking, oh, that's how you do that. That's how you disagree. And then I remember like stamped into like a little GPS pin in the middle of my chest was the last debate what you and I just experienced, one candidate said, if you vote for this person, you're voting for the end of democracy.
Yeah.
And then the other person said, well, if you vote for this person, you're voting for World War III.
Yeah.
And I remember turning the TV off going, I got two little kids. What do I do with this?
Yeah, right.
And so we've got this world where if I think differently than you or have a different idea, I have to hate you and I have to fight you. But there's an other side to that, which means if I have a different opinion, you have to hate me. So we walk into every room and we shove all of our thoughts and our ideas and our questions into our chest. For the last 10 years, you and I had to be careful. The questions we even asked, asking a question would get our shows canceled. Right? That's insane.
Right.
I spent 20 years in higher ed. The whole point was to ask hard questions and then go solve them.
Right.
And iron sharpens iron and peer review. And I think that's dumb. And I think this. And let's go have a drink. Right. And so I think we all walk around with this cap on our chest into these rooms. And we're not known. We're surrounded by loved ones and we're not known. And we're surrounded by loved ones and we don't have a path to, hey, I didn't vote for that person. And here's why. Well, now I hate you. Get out of my house.
Right.
The most common question I get on my show is about cutting off loved ones for ideas, thoughts. They were mean to me growing up. I'm not talking about abuse or
sure,
but like they should have done this differently, right?
Wow.
Your mom, who's now 62, is paying for sins when she had you at 22, right?
Right.
We just walk into every room unknown, and if you walk into a room unknown and without the courage to be heard and seen, that's the definition of lonely, unseen. Right?
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
And so we do it with our wives, we do it with our family members, we do it with our coworkers, and so we're just living these little pods, man.
Yeah.
And so there's no wonder I pick up my phone and it's got my echo chamber that's just for me.
Your personalized
awesome.
Algorithm handed directly to you.
Now I can be seen.
Yeah.
Right.
To reinforce everything. Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's tough, man. That's tough. Do you think that can be solved on an individual basis?
Yeah, I think when you take somebody out of a category and you give them a name, right? Like, two of my closest friends on the planet, we all vote different from each other.
Yeah.
We've got one radical libertarian, and I'm always like, oh, it's really easy to be a libertarian when someone else built your roads, right? And that's fun. And he makes fun of me, and we make fun of my other, and we all love each other. And I know if I just flew down and was at one of their mother's funerals, and you know what I'm saying? I was just on the phone checking on one of their other dads is struggling as he's getting older, and so those people I love, but they have names. Right. They're not categories, right? They're not this political party or this political party or this particular. They're my friends, right? I know their name, I know their kids, I know their spouses, and we've been through hard stuff together. Yeah.
What's your advice to somebody who feels like if they do express how they genuinely feel about something, that the people that they do have in their life are going to abandon them? What would be your advice to them?
Then those aren't friends. That's not connectivity. That's like having a house full of dogs
Yeah.
that will bite you at any minute.
If there's conditions,
Your body can't let you be safe because you're not,
yeah.
right? So we often feel we can't. Often we can. You just have a room full of people who won't go first. And then everybody just goes home unsatisfied. And so you have to have 2 more drinks. And you have to, you got to do these other things that we pathologize. Dude, alcohol works, man. When you're lonely and no one will listen to you and you feel isolated, alcohol works until it kills you, right?
Right.
And so
It's a great salve.
yeah. Also, all these things that we're demonizing, they should be. They're not good. But get to the main issue, man. And if you have a community of people who you can't tell the truth or you can't even ask a question,
Yeah.
you got to get a new game.
Yeah. Truth doesn't shy away from questions.
No, man.
Yeah.
And what I think our generation, 30, 40s, and 50-year-olds, especially, there's no roadmap for making friends. Like, there's no roadmap in human history for people who move as much as we did.
Yeah.
And it's normal. It's weird now if you stay in the same community where you grew up. You're a weirdo, right? Oh, you never got out, right?
You're still there.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's never happened in all of human history. So we've got a bunch of lonely people who've got the job they wanted and the salary they wanted, but they got nobody, right? And then you've got a generation of grandparents who feel abandoned by their kids, and there's no way to bridge that gap. And so it's just messy. And so we can either go back home, or we can do the hard work of saying, hey, I don't need friends, man.
Yeah.
Here's funny. So I talk about this all the time, and a woman who edits some of my writing, she's amazing. And she finally said, I got to where, your argument was compelling, John, but it sounded insane. She's about 15 years younger than me. So her and her husband, they went around their neighborhood. They live in a condo here in Nashville. They went and flyered their immediate neighborhood and said, Taco Tuesday or Taco Wednesday, we'll provide the meat and stuff. Y'all bring the toppings. And I think 40-some people showed up.
40-something?
And it was a house full of randos. Kids, older kids, different races. Everyone just showed up.
Yeah.
And here's what was rad, and here's what I remember going, ooh, that's a problem for me. They did it again, and 20-something people showed up. And they said it was equally amazing. And I said, oh, man, because I've ROI'd, I'm of the network generation where you only reach out if somebody can get you something or what can I get from them. I would have lost sleep that night at why did only half as many people come back? Instead of
maybe I shouldn't do this again. Yeah.
Right. I didn't perform well enough. I should have had 80 instead of 20.
Right.
Right. Because if I just had an event up here, sold out, it was awesome. And then the immediate question is, dude, how do we 1.5 times this?
Right.
Instead of just being really grateful that we helped a bunch of people they're married with, right? And we made enough money to do it again one day, right? It when it went from 40 to 20, I thought, oh no, that would have kept me up at night. That's a me problem, right?
Sure.
And if 5 people showed up, that can be an amazing, rich night. But what I've seen people be successful is it doesn't usually start with 40 because people aren't as brave as her and her husband are, but you ask 5 people out, and then 5 show up, or 3 show up, and then 3 show up the next time, 1 shows up the next time, and over time, that's your person. 1 or 2 people will kind of keep circling up, and you'll think the same things are funny. I have a habit of being in a meeting and just dropping an old Dumb and Dumber line, or if somebody ever says the words, well, step 1, and I'll say, is to cut a hole in the box, and 1 or 2 people in the room will go, and I'll know, y'all
yeah.
people, right? Let's go grab lunch, right? And that's how
immediate call out.
That's right.
Yeah.
And my wife,
anybody who gets this joke,
my
we're on
wife
the
knows
same page.
if somebody looks up, y'all aren't my people, because you don't think that's funny at all, right? And so, but you have to just keep your eyes open, and then you got to go first and go be weird.
That's the big piece. Yeah, the courage to go first. The cold open. Is tough for a lot of people.
There's a phenomenal book. I don't buy all the philosophy, but I think the general question is so remarkable. Die with Zero. It's a book about living. It has a lot of equations and numbers in it, but I love the question it asks, which is, when you're 72, would you rather have not gone to those concerts because your buddy didn't have enough money to pay for the ticket? Or would you rather be 72 and remember all the concerts y'all went to? So I'm in a season right now, I look at my life as like I'm a farmer, and I'm in a season right now where the crop has come in well.
Yeah,
right? It's a season of blessing right now. So this morning, I bought 3 tickets to a punk rock show and I just texted 2 of my buddies, one of whom is doing well and one who just lost her job. And I said, hey, I got 3 tickets. Y'all are coming.
Yeah.
If they Venmo me, great. I'm not going to ask.
Right.
If they don't, we're all 3 going to go to a punk
Equally
rock
as
show.
great. Yeah.
And we're too old to be at punk rock shows. And it's super fun to have old guys at punk rock shows. Because I remember being 19 being like, that's the old guy at the punk rock show.
That's going to be me.
That's right. That's right. So I'm getting to live my 19-year-old dream, right? But I'd rather have the shared experience of a good time.
Yeah.
And there's going to be seasons when I don't have enough money for a ticket, right? I'll get fired from this at some point. And then I'll hope that one buddy will be like, hey, I got an extra ticket. Let's go. And I'd rather do life that way.
Yeah. One too many Lonely Island jokes will get you fired one day. But
trust me, I've danced on that edge
We're on the
before.
cusp.
I've danced on the edge. That's right.